TV Reality Sucks. We have the classic man here.
Ty, this is me, the classic man. Got my boy Amazing Cal. It's Calvin Collins, baby.
Oh, you gonna say my whole
I don't know how that even came out.
Ah, wait, okay, Ty Green. Welcome aboard, man. Oh my goodness. What's going on?
So, I don't know what's been. Like I said, I don't watch the news that much, but
Okay.
I did hear about this hurricane that was coming. Sorry about that. Hear about this hurricane that was coming and tore up down in Texas.
Okay.
I'm a little biased about how they're reacting to what they're doing over there because in New Orleans they didn't do that much when they reacted to what happened in New Orleans when that happened.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I'm just talking about the response today because I was watching President Trump talk about something on the news today.
Okay.
Number 45. I don't even know why I said his name.
You're gonna say his name from time.
But yeah, and then it brought up that and they said how fast they're gonna rapid recovery and all these things, and I'm just like, it's it always, even though we don't want to talk about it, everything revolves around race, whether you want to say it or not, but it does, because you look at the recovery and how long it took New Orleans to get their stuff back. And New Orleans is one of our top tourist countries, states in our city.
Right.
A lot of people go to New Orleans for the jazz and for the food.
Okay.
So it took years to get that back. I mean 5, and it's still not back. It's still not even where it was before. But they got the downtown jumping. So that's what I was a little taken back from on this a little bit from today.
Let me ask you a question though.
Yeah.
Do you think they learned from their mistake, or do you think it's really racially motivated?
I don't think they learn from their mistakes because hurricanes happen every year. You know what I mean? Florida gets tore down almost every year.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And they take good care of them.
Okay.
I mean, except they didn't do it a couple of years ago. I remember because it was in the other neighborhood.
Okay.
But yeah.
What neighborhood is that?
Black neighborhood.
Okay. It's okay to say that.
I know it is. It
You know
should
what
be
I'm saying?
right.
It's okay to say that.
It is.
So you
You're
feel
right.
them saying you feel they're moving more faster because it's a predominantly
white state or white neighborhood.
Okay,
You know what I
that's
mean?
how you feel?
That's how I feel.
Okay.
I mean,
so you think, I'm just asking, playing devil's advocate, do you think it's room, probably for growth on that because of what they saw in Hurricane Katrina, and they're reacting in a different way and they're moving, in a different aspect. Could that be possible?
It could be possible, but now all we gotta do is see it, and let it happen again and see. That's all we can.
Keep happening.
No, I'm just saying.
A lot of people are devastated.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. But you just gotta
it's not
see.
only. I understand. You say it's predominantly white, but the pictures and the photos saying, and this is social media again. It's most of them. They are showing black people.
But that's what they do. But then
right, I understand.
But they don't go in and help black folks. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's the thing. Yeah, we can show the people up there losing everything and going through all that.
Right.
But who are we gonna truly help when we get down there? You know what I mean? It's like who you gonna really help. You know what I mean? Who's more important? That's the thing. They're gonna rebuild that downtown area before they do anything. Anything that's gonna bring in some money, they're gonna rebuild first.
But everything is always, when we look at everything, we live in a state.
Yeah, but those people
Go ahead.
but the same you say that right, but then those same people, you was gonna say disagree with what I was saying, bro. What I'm saying is, but those same people that you don't go help, or the same people you want to go back and spend their money in in downtown again. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's the problem.
Okay.
That's the problem that I feel.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
What you was gonna say?
I was gonna say, I think. I was gonna say, got me confused right now.
Sorry.
No, but seriously, I think, when we look at, money and it's being enforced by money as well. America is a predominant, state. That, divides. The cons on currency.
Right.
As well. So when we look at things that's going to bring in revenue, of course they will help. Anything that's going to generate revenue.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right. Okay.
That was it, buddy.
Then I had so I guess that was all I had to say really about that. But then I had reposted this thing I saw on Facebook.
What did you repost?
The black guy talking about the churches. And
I saw.
the money.
What do you think about that? He's on a lot.
But that
don't
was
say it's so true.
It kind of is though.
No, don't say that.
It kind of is
agree.
though.
That don't, just because something sounds good, don't mean it is good.
No, that's true. That's true.
I can make a lot of things sound good.
That's true.
I've watched him. I saw certain things, and he
What's
says
up now,
things.
Hector?
What's going on, Hector? Thank you for tuning in. Toya, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Veronica, we appreciate you.
Yeah, but
thank you for tuning in.
But that's. I mean, when you kind of think about it, that's kind of how the circle. That's how it kind of works.
What circle works? Church?
No, but kinda.
What do you mean?
I mean, you put your money into a basket where you ain't getting nothing back.
Really?
I mean,
what do you mean by that?
Because you're getting a hope and a dream, and you could pray. You could pray, everybody. Let me tell you something.
Wait a minute.
You can pray to God on your own.
I believe that you can pray to God on your own.
You know what I mean?
But I think it's something different when you pray collectively. I think it's something different when you pray collectively. That's my okay. Let me put it this way.
Cheers to praying collectively.
I think it's something different. But
cheers.
When you look at it,
yeah, I know what, guys. Let's all take a minute and pray.
Okay.
For people down, we're gonna take.
You trying to be funny? You trying to be funny? Okay, let me put it a different way.
Okay.
I think it's something different. You know what I'm saying, when we all work together in concert, as well. Because you could do one thing by yourself, but if I put my whole fist together, then it's more powerful. And that's how I kind of look at whether it's church, whether it's an organization, however you may look at it, it's a difference when people pray or people work together in concert collectively. It's like we're doing it, collectively. And when we start being able to work collectively, like you said in New Orleans, we start with, whether it's Texas, people have to work together in concert, people have to work together and collectively. So we can't just look, yes, I believe church is the institution, and church runs out of business. But don't look at church, when you get in the hope and the dream. The hope and the dream, you should have that before you even got there. As well, if you go into church just look for a hope and a dream, then you have failed already. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it, you have to look at it from a different perspective. It's always something, like people can work from home. But you won't. But you can't, you can't, like if you work from home, you can't get the same thing that you work from home, and you can't, that you get as working in a corporate business.
Right.
It's a totally different,
atmosphere.
Business, and you have to look at it from that. But I think sometimes church has got a bad rap. Like I always said, I was speaking to this young lady. I said church will never be perfect. You know why it will never be perfect? Because it's filled with us. You know what I'm saying? And as long as it's filled with us, when it's filled with imperfect people, then you're going to always find never the perfect church. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it from this point of view. You know what I'm saying? Really, And when we look at it from this point of view, they have people in church that, that will love you, because don't you love people? I love people. And if you attend a church or whatever church you attend to, that love that you have, you just bring it in there. Then, you have to look at it, every which way. You can't say, oh, church is bad, church is this,
Oh, I'm not saying all churches are bad.
Not churches are bad, Well, churches, function differently. Everybody function differently.
Right. But I just think that, it's funny because I never heard it put in those terms and put in the. What? If you haven't seen it, guys, go on my page and you can look at the video.
What video?
I just never heard it.
Really? I've heard them.
No, but
years ago.
I just never heard it put in that kind of perspective. That's what I was saying, and when he put it in that perspective, I was like, well, when you think about it, and he said it, I was like, thinking about it now, I'm like, damn, he's kind of right.
He kind of grabs your attention.
He kind of grabbed my attention, but then I thought about it. I was like, well, it kind of sounds true. You know what I mean? Because that.
Hey, Juanita.
You know what I mean? Because that's hi, Juanita. How you doing? What's up now, Sean? Thanks for joining in. But yeah, I don't know, because I
talk to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded really good.
A lot of things sounds really good. But let me ask you this question.
So true.
Let me ask you a question. And most people say, you know what? They have left church. They don't believe church. All different aspects because something has bad. And I believe, church is the worst as well, from what people have said. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever went to the store, and bought a box of eggs and found some broken? Have you?
No.
Okay. There are people that have, though, right? And went home and did we stop eating eggs?
But normally you check the eggs before.
Not everybody does that.
True.
Not everybody does.
No, you don't stop eating eggs. You just take the one that's broken and throw it away.
There you go. That's the answer to that.
He answered my question.
That's the answer. You know what I'm saying? You supposedly you think you take the meat and spit out the bone.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And I think we have to. I think at the end of the day we have to be people of transparency. And when people start becoming transparency, at the end of the day, then people can look and see and be intimate with us. Then real intimacy, will start to begin. That's how I look at it. Because, come on, we can say this, we can say this. You say, I don't like this person at the job, I don't like this, I don't like this church. Come on, it's always want something that doesn't actually fit our needs and fits out, and what we're going to prescribe. But everything is not there permanently. It's just there for a season, and it's there for a stepping stone. That's how I kind of see it.
Okay.
What we got here? I'm seeing you reading over here something. You got something cooking over there. What you got cooking over there, classic man? You got something cooking.
All right, so
that's a nice cup you got. Matter of fact, I like your cup, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate yours too. So I don't know. I reposted this about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
What did you say?
It was a speech of the guy. His name was Admiral William H. McRaven.
Okay.
He was in the Navy. He retired from the Navy after 35 years. And I didn't realize, but Navy SEAL is one of the most gruesome basic trainings that you can go through. And this is for you can.
What do you think about Rangers?
I don't know what their basic training is. I know that Marines was supposed to have one of the most gruelest too.
Okay.
But then I'm reading this book. This is crazy. Well, this guy actually.
What's going on, champion? Thank you, Chlusne Lamont.
This
guy. Everything good?
This guy decided to give this speech at. He went to the university. He's the chancellor of University of Texas, and he had this speech, and there were 10 things. There were 10 little life things that can change your life and maybe the world. And he goes to talk about them throughout this whole book. And he had 10 chapters in his book. And the first chapter, which is number 1, you start your day with one task completed. Make your bed every morning. That's the first thing you do in the morning. That's one task you complete every morning to get your day started.
Okay.
Because most of your day is about, completing task to task to task until all the tasks are done and you're satisfied and you go to sleep and wake up and do it again the next morning.
Okay.
Number 2, you can't go at it alone. And that means find someone to help you paddle. Which means, you know what I mean?
That's a great point.
You know what I mean?
Now you got it. Did you hear what you just said? Mm-hmm. Find somebody that's going to help you paddle. Because you can't go at it alone. You got to do it in concert.
And that can be friends, that can be families, that can be relationships, it can be whatever
that's
you want it to be.
About.
But
What's his name?
His name is William H. McRaven.
Oh, so William McRaven.
Admiral.
Okay, you want me to add that behind it?
You got to put the Admiral.
Okay, his name is Mr. Craven?
Admiral McRaven.
Mr. Craven, okay.
Admiral.
Okay, whatever. Look in the camera.
You know what I'm saying? He worked hard for the name. You got to call him by his name. I guess we should go into a little depth of these. I guess so I can understand. But yes, find someone to help you paddle. That means, whatever it may be, somebody, a coworker, somebody's going to help you perceive that dream that you maybe want, that you may have, or you may want to try to attain to be, or train to get.
Okay.
Number 3, chapter 3, only the size of your heart matters. Measure a person by the size of their heart. I think you should judge, you measure everybody by their heart, by the size of their heart. Because once you know what's inside their heart, then you know the person. You know what I mean? All the other stuff is secondary. But once you find out what's up in their heart and up here,
right,
everything else is secondary. Because then you know what I mean? Then you get to know the person.
Right.
Chapter 4, life's not far. Life's not fair. Drive on.
Okay.
So get over being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward. Right. So you know what I mean? If things don't work out for you, you're gonna fail. Keep failing and keep getting up and doing it again. Keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it.
I agree.
You know what I mean? That's chapter 5 was failure can make you stronger. Don't be afraid of the circus, which means whatever happens, it's a crazy world out there, and you're gonna go through some crazy people, some crazy things.
I agree.
So don't stop at those crazy people. You keep driving on until you find those good people in the world that's gonna actually be able to help you or do something for you. Chapter 6, you must dare greatly. Slide down the obstacle course head first. And in these chapters, what I'm missing is in these chapters, these were the beginning to what he's going to talk about in the chapter, and what was going to be relatable to what he was saying. What I'm going to say is the one to slide down head first was pertaining to one of his buddies in basic training. Now, 150 guys started out in their basic training. Okay. By the end of their basic training, it was so grueling, 33 decided to quit. By the end of it, 33 was left. Sorry, not quit. And there was one kid, every day, he could never do time up and down this wall. So one day, he decided to go head first. And everybody knows if you go head first down this wall, you basically laying your deathbed. You're going to commit suicide, you're basically dying, or you're going to be paralyzed from the waist down. He ends up doing it and making it down and beating his fastest time. That's when he means if you slide down the obstacle head first, because when you go head first, nothing is really going to stop you. Okay. Chapter 7 says, stand up to your bullies. Don't back down from the sharks. With that, he went into the chapter saying that. Rise to the occasion. Be the very best in your darkest moments. Oh, I didn't get 9 and 10. Oh, so when he mean by being your very best in your darkest moments, he was talking about the last week of Naval SEAL training, and it's called Hell Week. So what they did was, for 18 hours, they had to stand in this swamp with everything in it. It was cold, it was windy, and they're about halfway through, about 9 hours in. They knew it had 9 hours before the sun came up again, and all of a sudden, the sergeant comes over and he says, all I need is 5 of you to come out of this ocean, come out of this water right now, and just come over here and get some of this hot chicken and hot soup, and sit by the fire. All I need is 5 of you all can come out. One guy started to come out, and then this one guy started singing, and they sang for the last 9 hours of this thing, and basically got them through. Then he said the water got warmer, the wind stopped blowing so hard, they weren't as cold as much, and it seemed to get them through. But it took a group of them, you know what I mean? This one guy started it, and everybody else joined in. So you know what I mean? It's all about what you want to do and who you're gonna attract to help you get there. But also too, the main point of this story was little things can change your life and maybe the world. So that's what he's saying. You know, start with little things in your life, and who knows what you can do with it. Oh, here's chapter 9. That's why. So chapter 9 was give people hope. Start singing when you're up to your neck in the mud. That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
That was chapter 9.
Okay.
And then at the end he says, hope is the most powerful force in the universe.
Okay.
With hope you can inspire nations to greatness. In chapter 10, never ever quit. Don't ever 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 ring the bell. So there was a bell. They had this bell to let you know you gave up at his Navy SEAL basic training. So whenever that bell was ringing, that means somebody gave up. One of the cadets gave up.
Okay.
So that's what he was saying by never ever ring the bell. Never quit. Never don't ever stop. You keep going. You keep going. So you have anything else you want to say, sir?
No, I'm just.
Are you just gonna listen to what I'm gonna say? All right.
I can't listen to you today.
So that was the first book. Make Your Bed. That's what it looks like. Admiral William H. McRaven, the U.S. Navy retired.
Such a great speech. Juanita was just mentioned.
Thank you, Juanita.
Or maybe like 10 minutes ago, she said it's a great speech.
It is a great speech. You got to read the book, Juanita. The book is amazing. And it's a small little book, 10 chapters. I think it's about 200 pages, or if that. I think I read it all in it was like 100 and some pages. I think I read it all in a day or day and a half. Because I'm all about positive reading and putting good energy out in the world.
I agree.
So there's another book. I actually know this author, a really, really good friend of mine. I didn't know she was an author. I know she does other things, but she put out this book called Choose Resilience. It's basically break out of your comfort zone. Using the power of emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Because I also think that sometimes our emotional intelligence are used towards something bad, because we're all emotional people and emotional human beings, and when somebody says something that you don't like, you feel something, you know what I mean, and that's an emotion you're feeling, and you want to say something, you want to express how you feel, but sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you just need to let it be.
I agree with that.
Or think about it and then come back to it and then respond to how you feel, rather than just saying something then, because a lot of times you feel one way because it made you feel some kind of way. But if you sit down and let it marinate for a little bit and think about it, how can you react to this positively, or how could you react to this negatively? And if you normally put those two things together, you normally come up with a really good, nice way to say something.
I agree.
But I think that's what we as a nation and we as people need to start doing.
I agree with you 100%.
So this was the introductory to the first line of this book, and this is how you know you're going to read something that's going to probably change you or make you feel a different way when you're done. Okay. The first line, this is how you know. Oh, I wrote that. I said that.
What's that? What you said?
This is how you know you're about to read something that will change your life over time.
That's right.
The first line is, this is how you know you're about to read something that will change your life over time. And I quote, this is exactly what she wrote. We all make a choice every day, but too often when given the option, we choose to stay comfortable and resist doing things that make us uneasy or seem difficult.
I agree with you.
We may be easily offended by those who don't agree with us, so we judge and avoid them. We may blame other people or our circumstances for our problems. or our unhappiness or the nagging feelings of disconnect with our life. The happiest people have failed, struggled, have had struggles and hardships, even at the times putting themselves in a difficult or uncomfortable situation, but have chosen to be happy anyway. When you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you'll build endurance, confidence, and a sense of accomplishments.
I agree.
So
I think, you know what I'm saying, a lot of key things we could definitely use all that. Just listen to the book. I think sometimes we know it and sometimes we rehearse it, but sometimes we don't apply it. So it's a difference, you know what I'm saying? I think everything you said is great and it's awesome. But I think the key thing is we have to apply these things. Because one thing knowing is another thing, you know what I'm saying, definitely applying it. You know, and I think we talked about that, you know what I'm saying, in recent. We talk about this like in every day, all the time. We say, okay, we know to do this. We know we have to be pushed out of our comfort zone. I remember one manager told me back this in 2005. He said, the reason how you know what I'm saying, when you're being stretched, when you feel uncomfortable. And he said, if you feel uncomfortable in this situation, then most likely you're being stretched. Because you got to be stretched. You got to get out what's already in you. You got to cultivate, you know what I'm saying, the things that's already in you out of you. And how else will you know what I'm saying, cultivate that out of you? It's just being uncomfortable. And most times we find ourselves being comfortable in jobs. We find ourselves being comfortable in relationships. What can we do better? What stream, you know what I'm saying, can we manifest out of us? And I think that's such a key thing. You think, like you talked about, you know what I'm saying, the first thing is making your bed every day. And just completing that task. What does that show? That shows right there commitment. Can you just be committed to making your bed every day? You know what I'm saying? Do you have commitment in you? Can you know what I'm saying, handle that endurance? And it could be something, you know what I'm saying, that's minute, but it's so big. It's not such the big things, you know what I'm saying, you look for boulders to bring down the house, but it's the termites that bring down the house. It's the small things that add up. And I think, you know, when we start looking at that from that perspective, you know what I'm saying, then things will gradually happen. It says nothing happens overnight, but it seems like it's overnight, you know what I'm saying, as time goes on. So these speeches are great. These speeches, you know what I'm saying, are inspirational, you know what I'm saying, and motivational. But, you know what I'm saying, the thing is, can we apply it to our daily living? We have to apply. You can read all the stuff you want. I'm not saying. I think his book is great.
I agree.
But can we apply it? I want to apply this.
And that's the thing.
As well, because if we don't apply this, we'll still be at, you know what I'm saying, at base one. How are we going to get from, forget getting to A to Z, how can I get from A to B?
Well, that's the thing about reading these books. These books are, you know, they're self-help books for you, but you also try to apply that in your, like, you know what I mean? Like, you read that first chapter, start one task every day by making your bed in the morning.
Great. I love that.
That's the first thing I'm going to do. You know what I mean? I do this anyway.
But some people
do. I mean, I know.
And I agree with that. I think that's great. I think that is great.
If you get up, because
I know people that don't even make their bed. You ever come back to their house?
Let me tell you something. If you make your bed every morning before you left the house, when you came home, it'd be a totally different thing when you walk through those doors in that bedroom.
I agree with you, Ty.
I mean, and I'm not saying this because I make my bed every day. This is how I was raised. I mean, but also too, I know the different feeling that I feel when I come home. My bed is not made.
Right.
I have this feeling like, oh fuck, now I gotta make my bed.
Right.
Or now, oh man, why? You know, it's not the same as when I walk in and everything is neatly and my bed is made. You know what I mean? It makes. Like my day could have been great, and I walk into my house and my bed is not made. I'm just like, oh, that could have, like ended my bed. Now my day is not what it was earlier. You know what I mean? But with that being said, like I said, you start the task. So you start with one task, and you move on to the next. Once you got one task done for a week or two, you move on to the next. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing about it. It's about being committed. And when we look at it, I think, you know what I'm saying, this for me here, I never heard his speech personally, but just hearing, you know what I'm saying, the aspects, you know what I'm saying, and what he's, you know what I'm saying, is definitely illustrating is great. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? He's putting all this energy out there. He's putting all this power. But you know what I'm saying? What are we doing with the energy that he's putting out there? I'm listening to you. Talk.
I can read the speech, actually.
Please read the speech.
I have the speech.
Okay, read the speech.
So I'm going to read you Mr. Admiral William H. McRaven speech. So this is the University of Texas commencement speech, as he is the chancellor. The university slogan is, "What starts here changes the world." I have to admit, I kind of like it. What starts here changes the world. Tonight, there are almost 8,000 students graduating from the University of Texas.
Right.
That great paragon of analytical rigor, Ask.com, says that the average American will meet 10,000 people in their lifetime. That's a lot of folks.
Exactly.
But if every one of you changed the lives of just 10 people, and each one of those folks changed the lives of another 10 people, just 10. Then in 5 generations, 125 years, the class of 2014 will have changed the lives of 800 million people. 800 million people. Think of it. Over twice the population of the United States. Go one more generation and you can change the entire population of the world. 8 billion people. If you think it's hard to change the lives of 10 people, change their lives forever, you're wrong. I saw it happen every day in Iraq and Afghanistan. A young army officer makes a decision to go left instead of right down a road in Baghdad, and 10 soldiers in his squad are saved from a close-in ambush. In Kandahar province, Afghanistan, a non-commissioned officer from the female engagement team senses something isn't right and directs the infantry platoon away from a 500-pound IED, saving the lives of a dozen soldiers. But if you think about it, not only were those soldiers saved by the decision of one person, but their children yet unborn were also saved, and their children's children were saved. Generations were saved by one decision by one person. But changing the world can happen anywhere, and anyone can do it. So, what starts here can indeed change the world, but the question is, what will the world look like after you change it?
All right, that's what I like.
Well, I am confident that it will look much, much better. But if you humor this old sailor for just a moment, I have a few suggestions that may help you on your way to a better world. And while these lessons were learned during my time in the military, I can assure you that it matters not whether you've ever served a day uniform. It matters not your gender, your ethnic or religious background, your orientation, or your social status. Yeah. Our struggles in the world are similar, and the lessons to overcome those struggles and to move forward. Changing ourselves in the world around us will apply equal to all. I have been a Navy SEAL for 36 years, but it all began when I left University of Texas for basic SEAL training in Coronado, California. Basic SEAL training is 6 months of long, torturous runs in the soft sand, midnight swims in the cold water off San Diego, obstacle courses, unending I had the word in my head, calisthenics, days without sleep and always being cold, wet, and miserable. It is 6 months of being constantly harassed by professionally trained warriors who seek to find the weak of the mind and the body and eliminate them from ever becoming a Naval SEAL. But the training also seeks to find those students who can lead in an environment of constant stress, chaos, failure, and hardships. Right. To me, basic SEAL training was a lifetime of challenges crammed into 6 months. So here are the 10 lessons I've learned from basic SEAL training that hopefully will be of value to you as you move forward in life. Every morning in the basic SEAL training, my instructors, who at the time were all Vietnam veterans, would show up in my barracks room, and the first thing they would inspect was your bed. If you did it right, the corners would be square, the covers pulled tight, the pillows centered just under the headboard, and the extra blanket folded neatly at the foot of the rack.
Right.
It was a simple task, mundane at best, but every morning we were required to make our bed to perfection. It seemed a little ridiculous at the time, particularly in the light of the fact that we were aspiring to be real warriors, tough battle-hardened SEALs. But the wisdom of the simple act has been proven to me many times over. If you make your bed every morning, you have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task and another and another. By the end of the day, the one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will only reinforce the fact that little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you will never do the big things right.
I agree.
And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made.
That's what Juanita just said.
You made.
She just actually said that.
And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. Am I reading the whole thing?
This is the whole book?
I thought that was the.
No,
this is the whole speech.
Wow.
The speech is like 5 minutes long.
Okay.
During SEAL training, the students are broken down into boat crews. Each crew is 7 students, 3 on each side of a small rubber boat and 1 coxswain to help guide the dinghy. Every day, your boat crew forms up on the beach and is instructed to get through the surf zone and paddle several miles down the coast. In the winter, the surf of San Diego can get to be 8 to 10 feet high, and it is.
Thank you, Ace, for joining.
Exceedingly difficult to paddle through the plunging surf unless everyone digs in. Every paddle must be synchronized to the stroke count of the coxswain. Everyone must exert equal effort or the boat will turn against the wave and be unceremoniously tossed back on the beach. For the boat to make it to the destination, everyone must paddle. You can't change the world alone. You will need some help.
Right.
And to truly get from your starting point to your destination, take friends, colleagues, the goodwill of strangers, and a strong coxswain to guide them. If you want to change the world, find someone to help you paddle. Over a few weeks of difficulty training, my SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down into just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew we called them. No one was over about 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, an African American, and 1 Polish American, and 1 Greek American, and 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, outswam all the other boat crews. The big men in the other boat crews would always make a good-natured fun of the tiny little flippers the Munchkins put on their tiny little feet prior to every swim. But somehow these little guys from every corner of the nation and the world always had the last laugh, swimming faster than everyone and reaching the shore long before the rest of us. SEAL training was a great equalizer. Nothing mattered but your will to succeed. Not your color, not your ethnic background, not your education, and not your social status. If you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart and not the size of their flippers. Several times a week, the instructors would line up the class and do a uniform inspection. It was exceptionally thorough. Your hat had to be perfectly starched, your uniform immaculately pressed, and your belt buckle shiny and devoid of any smudges. But it seemed that no matter how much effort you put in starching your hat or pressing your uniform or polishing your belt buckle, it just wasn't ever good enough. The instructors would find something wrong. For failing the uniform inspection, a student had to run fully clothed into the surf zone and then wet from head to toe, roll around on the beach until every part of his body was covered with sand. The effect was known as a sugar cookie. You stayed in the uniform the rest of the day, cold, wet, and sandy. There were many students who just couldn't accept the fact that all these efforts were in vain, that no matter how hard they tried to get the uniform right, it was unappreciated. Those students didn't make it through training. Those students didn't understand the purpose of the drill. You were never going to succeed. You were never going to have a perfect uniform. Sometimes no matter how well you prepare or how well you perform, you will still end up as a sugar cookie. It's just the way life is sometimes. If you want to change the world, get over being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward. Every day during training, you were challenged with multiple physical events, long runs, long swims, obstacle courses, and hours of calisthenics. Something designed to test your mettle. Every event has standards, times you had to meet. If you failed to meet those standards, your name was posted on the list, and at the end of the day, those on the list were invited to the circus. A circus was 2 hours of additional calisthenics designed to wear you down, to break your spirit, to force you to quit. No one wanted a circus. A circus meant that for the day you didn't measure up. A circus meant more fatigue, and more fatigue meant that following day you would be more difficult and more circuses were likely. But at the same time, during SEAL training, everyone made the circus list. And an interesting thing happened to those who were constantly on the list. Over time, those students who did 2 hours of extra calisthenics got stronger and stronger. The pain of the circuses built inner strength, built physical resiliency. Life is filled with circuses. You will fail. You will likely fail often. It will be painful. It will be discouraging. At times, it will test you to your very core. If you want to change the world, don't be afraid of the circuses. At least twice a week, the trainings were required to run the obstacle course. The obstacle course contained 25 obstacles including a 10-foot high wall, a 30-foot cargo net, and a barbed wire crawl, to name a few. But the most challenging obstacle was a slide for life. It had a 3-level, 30-foot tower at the end of it, at one end, and 1 level toward at the other. In between was a 100-foot long rope. You had to climb the 3-tiered tower, and once at the top, you grabbed the rope, swung underneath the rope, and pulled yourself hand over hand until you got to the other end. The record for the obstacle course has stood for years when my class began training in 1977. The record seemed unbeatable until one day a student decided to go down the slide for his life head first. Instead of swinging his body underneath the rope and inching his way down, he bravely mounted the top of the rope and thrust himself forward. It was a dangerous move, seemingly foolish and fraught with risk. Failure could mean injury and being dropped from the training. Without hesitation, the student slid down the rope perilously fast, and instead of several minutes, it took him only half the time. By the end of the course, he had broken the record. If you want to change the world, sometimes you have to slide down the obstacle head first. During the land warfare phase of training, the students are flown out to San Clemente Island, which lies off the coast of San Diego. The waters off San Clemente are breeding ground for great white sharks. To pass SEAL training, there are a series of long swims that must be completed. One is a night swim. Before the swim, the instructors joyfully brief the trainees of all the species of sharks that inhabit the waters of San Clemente. They assure you, however, that no students have ever been eaten by a shark, at least not recently. But you are also taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground, do not swim away, do not act afraid, and if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summon up all your strength and punch him in the snout, and he'll turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in this world. If you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. If you want to change the world, you don't back down from the sharks. One of our jobs at Navy SEAL is to conduct underwater attacks against enemy shipping. We practice this technique extensively during basic training. The ship attack mission is where a pair of SEAL divers is dropped off outside an enemy harbor, and then they will swim all over 2 miles underwater using nothing but a depth gauge and a compass to get to their target. During the entire swim, even well below the surface, there is somewhat light that comes through. It is comforting to know that there is open water above you. But as you approach the ship, which is tied to a pier, the light begins to fade. The steel structure of the ship blocks the moonlight. It blocks the surrounding street lamps. It blocks all the ambient light. To be successful, you in your mission, you have to swim under the ship and find the keel, the center line in the deepest part of the ship. This is your objective, but the keel is also the darkest part of the ship, where you cannot see your hand in front of your face, where the noise from the ship machinery is defending you, and where it is easier to get disoriented and fail. Every SEAL knows the underkeel at the darkest moment of the mission is a time when you must be calm, composed, when all your tactical skills, your physical power, and all your inner strength must be brought to bear. If you want to change the world, you must be your very best in the darkest moments. The ninth week of the training is referred to as Hell Week. It is 6 days of no sleep, constant physical and mental harassment, and one special day at the Mud Flats. The Mud Flats are an area between San Diego and Tijuana where the water runs often creates the Tijuana Sloughs, a swampy patch of terrain where the mud will engulf you. It is on a Wednesday of Hell Week that you paddle down to the Mud Flats and spend the next 15 hours trying to survive the freezing cold mud, the howling wind, and the intense pressure from the structures to quit. As the sun begins to set the Wednesday evening, my training class have committed some egregious infraction of the rules. We ordered into the mud. The mud consumed each man till there was nothing visible but our heads. The instructors told us we could leave the mud if only 5 men would quit. Just 5 men and we could get out of this oppressive cold. As I looked around the Mud Flats, it was apparent that some students were about to give up. It was still over 8 hours till the sun came up. 8 more hours of bone-chilling cold, the chattering teeth, the shivering moans of the trainees were so loud it was hard to hear anything. And then one voice began to echo through the night. One voice raising the song. The song was terrible, out of tune, but sung with great enthusiasm. Okay. One voice became 2, and 2 became 3, and before long, everyone in the class was singing. All right. We knew that if one man could rise above the misery, then others could as well. The instructors threatened us with more time in the mud, and we kept up the singing, but the singing persisted, and somehow the mud seemed a little warmer, the wind a little tamer, and the dawn not so far away. If I have learned anything in my time traveling the world, is the power of hope. The power of one person, a Washington, a Lincoln, a King, a Mandela, and even a young girl from Pakistan, Malala. One person can change the world by giving people hope. If you want to change the world, start singing when you're up to your neck in the mud. Last but not least, finally, in SEAL training, there's a bell, a brass bell that hangs in the center of the compound for all the students to see. All you have to do is quit. All you have to do to quit is ring the bell. Ring the bell and you no longer have to wake up at 5 o'clock. Ring the bell and you no longer have to do the freezing cold swims. Ring the bell and you no longer have to do the runs. the obstacle course, the PT, and you no longer have to endure the hardship of training. Just ring the bell. If you want to change the world, don't ever, ever, ever ring the bell. To the graduating class of 2014, you are moments away from graduating, moments away from beginning your journey through life, moments away from starting to change the world for the better. It will not be easy. Start each day with the task completed. Find someone to help you through life. Respect everyone. Know that life is not fair and that you will fail often. But if you take some risks, step up when the times are toughest. Face down the bullies. Lift up the downtrodden, and never give up. Never, ever, ever give up. If you do these things, the next generation and the generation that follow will live in a world far better than the one we have today. And what started here will indeed have changed the world for the better. Thank you very much. Hook 'em horns. So that was his speech. It was a long speech. But with that being said, he had those top 10 keys that he said were really, 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 really good. Like I said, you start with one person to change the world. You start with the next 10. You try to, like he said, you're going to meet 10,000 people in your lifetime. And if you change 10 of those people in your lifetime, and those people change another 10, like he said, in what he said, in 20 something, we're going to have 8 billion people that you've, changed the world. But that was a lot.
That was a heck of a lot. So, you know what I'm saying? But, I think, it's very positive.
So,
go ahead. Got some more speeches?
No, what we could do is...
We want to have another speech?
No, we can actually talk about... Because you know what I mean?
Mike, thanks for tuning in. Mike, what's going on?
What's up, Annie? But what I was saying is... Every chapter he had an example of what somebody else did, you know what I mean, to show you to show you an example of what he was talking about, which I like, because most time, like I said, you can read stuff, but if you don't get it, and he put it in perspective for you to understand what he meant by everything that he was talking about.
I think that's great.
So
he gave you step-by-step tools.
Yes.
And I think that's great.
So so that was that book. Now we were talking about Choose Resilience, which is the other book.
You want to read another speech?
No.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
But no, it's back to being positive again and trying to help yourself and and trying to be the best you can be. That's all we really want to be. I hope that's all everybody ever wants to be, is to be the best you can be, the best you can be every day, or be a better you every day. Because that's what life should be about, trying to be a better you. But she said, so there was another thing that I was going into that what she called the dark days. We are stronger than we realize. The two biggest barriers preventing us from breaking out of our comfort zone are the uncertainty of the future and regrets we continue to harbor over choices we made in the past.
I agree. That's great. That's great. Right
now, that right there was powerful right there. I mean, we all have some regrets that we have in the past. Some things have not worked out the way we wanted to. Choices that we made may not worked out too. But we don't have to harbor on them. I mean, yeah, you can. It's fine that you do sometime, but it can't control the rest or the outcome of what tomorrow may bring.
Right.
Because you might miss a blessing because you were harboring on something that happened yesterday.
Now you're talking.
So sometimes you gotta let it go, because something good is gonna come eventually. You know what I mean? It may not be tomorrow, it may not be the next day, it may not be the next day, but it's gonna come.
It's on the way.
It's on its way.
It's in transition.
You know what I mean? You just gotta work at it. Because I heard something a long time ago. You pray to God, and you do all this and you do all this, but then he said, how about you meet God halfway? Because if you meet him halfway, he'll meet you the other half. Most of the time.
I think. Wait a minute.
You said no.
I didn't say no at all.
Okay.
I think sometimes you said if you take one step, God will take another step. But I feel if you take one step, God will take 10,000 if He has to. I think it's no number, no numerical aspiration that God want and do. For His people or for His children, however you might say it. I think we put limitations and we put bounds on how we perceive and how we believe, God is, how we believe ourselves to be. So I think it first starts off with us. You have to believe in yourself first. At the end of the day, it's great to believe in God. I believe that. But even in the Word of God, it tells you, first believe in you. as well, and that's a great thing. We said he could do all things, you know what I'm saying, through us. But we have to be able, you know what I'm saying,
we gotta believe in us.
You have to believe in us first, and that's just a key thing. That's the great thing, you know what I'm saying, about it. If you don't believe in yourself, how much more do you want him to do at the end of the day? Please go ahead.
Yeah. So how do I guess the question is, when do you start believing in yourself? When do you start to realize that you might have something that may be special? That's the question I think we should ask ourselves. You know what I mean? Are you being the best you that you can be? Or is there something else in the world that you want to do? Is there a dream that you may attain to be? And how are you going to do it? But what was my question?
You said, how can do we start believing in ourselves?
Yeah, how do we start believing in ourselves? Because, you know what I mean? Everybody don't have the support system of somebody around them telling them to do something.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Everybody don't have that. So how do oneself get that confidence? And I believe you get it by experience.
That's a good way of saying it.
People. You know what I mean? Being around people, talking to different people. Exposure.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing the same thing over and over again, how do you expect anything to be different? You know what I mean? But go out, like you said, go out of your comfort zone.
How do you go out your comfort zone?
So this is what gets me. So I remember one day I was right when Harlem was about to be gentrificated, as it is now, really gentrificated.
Okay.
I like my ghetto word. I had to say it.
All right.
But I remember I was out in front of Whoopi Goldberg had opened. Well, she had sponsored one of the guys that worked on her show. Opened up a restaurant on on 127th. I think it was 126, 127.
Okay.
And what's the train or the A train? St. Nick.
Okay.
I think it's St. Nick. Or
okay.
It could be the one over.
I know what you're talking about.
Right. So I'll never forget. I was outside smoking a cigarette, and this guy walked by, black guy, dressed in normal clothes. I was kind of dressed a little casual, I guess, so you know how I dress when I go out.
Right.
And I couldn't understand him asking me this question, and he was like, "Hey, you was up in the E?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "How's it?" No, he said, "How's the food up in there?" And I said, "It's really good," because the food was really good.
Okay.
And he said, "Can I go in there and eat?" And I said, "Yeah, you can go in there and eat." "What you mean, can you go up in there and eat?" You know what I mean? But I don't think he understood that, you know what I mean? Like, he said it like he didn't belong in there.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, no, you belong, you can go up in there. I mean, you can't go up in there in your jeans and your sneakers, and you know what I mean? But yeah, if you want to go put on a nice pair of slacks or a nice pair of casual pants and a pair of nice sneakers and a nice shirt, sure. Nobody, but...
How was he dressed?
He wasn't dressed to go out for dinner. He was dressed like he was, I don't know where he was going, but he wasn't dressed to go out to be in front of nobody. Like he was going to the store. He was just like he was going to the corner store.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? And like I say, y'all can. Hey, I call it how I see it, and you can't. You gotta look like something. You know what I mean? When you're going somewhere.
Something. Okay.
You know what I mean? You gotta look like something.
Okay. So you said we have to look like something.
I ain't say. I don't know.
Not we. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
So you said we have to look like something to be able to go somewhere.
I don't say you gotta look like something. I mean,
what are you saying?
How can I put it?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Look presentable.
Okay.
Look presentable. There we go.
So he was dressed urban.
He was dressed very urban.
That's how you want to put it?
He was dressed very urban.
He was dressed very urban.
Very urban.
And he asked you. So listen to this language. He was dressed urban, but his speech didn't sound urban. Because he came, you know what I'm saying, you didn't say he said yo. You just said he said anything else, you know what I'm saying, that spoke how he was dressed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he said, hey, you know, so can I go up in there and eat? So he was also considering, you know what I'm saying, is it able for me to go up in there? Maybe that's all he grew up around was urban.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And maybe he grew up there, and that's how, you know what I'm saying, he was taught how to dress.
Right.
Now, you know what I'm saying, things are changing, and they feel like you said look like somebody. It's easy to tell somebody what to do, but it's another thing to show people, you know what I'm saying, how to get there and direct them at the end of the day. Like I used to say, I could tell you how to wash the plate, but it's a difference from me showing you how to wash the plate.
Yeah, but I do this all the time.
How do you do? Okay, I hear what you do.
I try this all the time.
You try this all the time.
You know how many times I get laughed at for what I have on?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I kind of think you know what I'm saying.
But no. Even though I can put on the best, you know what I mean? I'm
What's
like,
the best?
You know, I can go out. I feel the best is how I feel. Ain't nobody that's telling me.
Oh, now you got
it. The best is how I feel.
That's how some people feel.
So, and I never forget the first couple times I wore suspenders. I was in Chicago for my birthday, and I had on these suspenders, bow tie, and everything.
You got on them.
Right, and these little young kids, urban kids, Well, it's downtown on Michigan
That's
Avenue.
That's the key word. Did you get what you said? What you said in the book? What it's about? Exposure.
Exposure. Right,
so
right.
you just exposed them.
Right. So as I'm walking by these kids and they were like, "Oh, you look like this, you look like that," I said, "Let me tell you something, brothers. You gotta dress like this one day because you can't go out like that." And then they had on shorts and t-shirts and all that. And I was like, it's sometimes you gotta put on your face and show people that, well, yeah, I belong. You know what I mean? Because that's the one thing about feeling uncomfortable. If you feel like you belong there, can't nobody make you feel uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So you got to make sure that you know that you're right in the right place. Because if you're not in the right place, then you need to get out until you're ready to go to the right place.
Okay.
Because you can't be mad at somebody else for making you feel uncomfortable. Because I always say, I always tell people when they make me feel uncomfortable, whether it be. So
let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And most people will say that's tuning in or watching the show as well, and it's tuning everywhere. If I've heard it, they say, okay, so you dress to the nines as well, and that makes you dress up as well. So you dress to the nines, you got the right.
I don't really dress to the nines.
Well,
this is the way I do.
All right, not you per se.
Right.
People
Right.
They dress to the nines.
Right.
We'll put some shoes on, a button up, and some nice. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say fitted jeans because some of these fitted jeans are a little bit too tight. Some nice tapered jeans on, and then we'll go out. But they have on the right outfit and the right atmosphere, but they don't have, the right, conversation or the right verbiage.
Right.
So they still belong. But then we take somebody, that might not have on the right outfit or might have the right for what we think is the right outfit, but they have the right verbiage.
That's fine.
So yeah, exactly. But you said you just clearly.
You're right.
To say act like you belong. Why should I still acting? When I already know I belong. We have people that's dressed in all these type of award shows, all these type of what we call black tie affairs, and they're not dressed. How we say. Some people are half naked.
True.
At the end of the day, some people come. In all type of outfits, and they still feel they belong. So it's feeling belong. So it's feeling. Being belong an outfit, or or feeling belong, something that's always inside of you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I see it.
No,
so,
true.
You know what I'm saying? So, look like somebody. I was making a joke being a
No, because I said the same thing about the award show. I was like, are you kidding me?
You see how they
showed up at the award show?
Exactly.
I mean,
so why is it like
come on now. This is just not right. I mean, I know we like to do extravagant things.
But we're talking about the new age. We're talking about 30 years later. You know what I'm saying? And how people are dressing today. You know what I'm saying? And you look at 30 pieces later, you know what I'm saying? Some of you can't tell if this goes for the female or go for the man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. You don't know what gender this is. Especially you shop at, no offense to Zara. They got a section in Zara that I don't even understand. So you have to look at it from that point of view. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that, point of view, it's all about what's in here. You know what I'm saying? Because you can feel, people say, it's not just a movie, this is a movie and stuff like that. Now, this is real life at the end of the day. And that's how I just see it. Do you belong? What's going on?
Tom.
What are you saying? What's Tom saying, man?
Tom, you bugged out, Tom.
What is he saying? Read out what Tom said.
Tom said he has to say it at the end of the day not once. And he said, because at the end of the day,
I know, I say
it like my man.
No, I say at the end of the day all the time, man, Tom. I'm like, at the end of the day,
You see the pink leather piece?
The pink leather piece?
What's that? And, but yes. So that's what I want to talk about. So I was going through D.L. Hughley. He got me the other day.
Did you see how D.L. Hughley dressed when he go out too?
And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw his.
Okay. That's what I was inspiring too. You see how he dressed going out to the end of the day? So I think fitting in is more of a confident thing. It's more of a self-esteem thing.
It's more of a self-esteem thing because you know what I mean.
But then you look when people fill out, when they say, do I belong here? Is it a self-esteem thing?
It's a self-esteem thing, probably.
It's a self-esteem thing. Yeah. It has nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with the clothes.
No.
People say, people used to say, clothes make the man look good. I disagree with that because some people have all the highest name fashion clothes or have all the name brand and they look bad sometimes. And then you'll find somebody that just go put an outfit on from the same. They buy their shirts from the same place they get their tools from, and they look amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
As well.
It's all about you.
It's really all about you. It's all how you wear it. It's all about how you feel. Or do you feel confident? Is your self-esteem high?
As somebody was telling me, I can't dress like that, Tyler. Like, yes, you can. Oh, you can't.
What happened?
Somebody would say, I can't dress like you, Tyler. I say, yes, you can. If you wear it with confidence, nobody can tell you nothing else.
That's the thing about it.
You know what I mean? And
but Tyler don't want to dress like you.
No, it's just like me. I'm saying, but when you wear anything with confidence, if you walk out of your house, if you looked in the mirror before you left the house and you say, I look good as a motherfucker, you look good as a motherfucker.
Invite me?
You look good. So you know what? You go out to the rest of the day, you show everybody you look good that day. Because let me tell you something, everybody else is going to join in. All right?
Oh, snap. All right.
That's what everybody else is going to join in. You know what I mean? Because I do it all the time. And I get people that stare, don't understand, what the hell is going on. I'm like, well, yeah, but don't stare on God because it ain't nice. You don't get it, ask me about it. We can talk about it and I can make you get it. Because some people, you don't have to get it, but you don't have to not like it because you don't get it.
But sometimes people may stare through admiration.
That's true, too. It's great to come admire and talk to me while you admire me.
So I have to talk to you? I can't just look and say that's a nice gentleman?
You can.
I can't be myself?
You can, but you can't stare and gawk at me.
I'm not gawk is a different word. You know what I'm saying? I like, so I can stare. You know what I mean? At the end of the day?
People don't get it.
At the end of the day?
They don't get it. But it ain't for me to get. It's for me to get, and I get it every day.
Terry, what's going on? Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, Terry.
But I think we have talked enough tonight, guys.
And you didn't return my call, but I ain't saying nothing.
So back to what we were talking about earlier. So you guys, make sure you start your first task in the morning by making your bed. Let's start this commitment from the day on forward, and we'll go on from there. Anything you got anything that's closing words?
No, closing words, what I'm saying? Just stay positive. I think you always say it. Let's be a better you every day. Let's take the steps to be a better you. And I think it's steps to be a better you. But let's be a better
Miss you
you.
too, Tom.
And at the end of the day, let's keep pressing forward. Let's keep prospering. And let's just go forward. We'll see you till next time. Next Monday, 7:30.
Be good to yourself. That way you can be good to each other.
Exactly. Thank you for joining in.
All right, let's make this world a better place. Reality sucks, and we are out.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys. So, by the way, so we're going to be back next Sunday. We probably will be next Sunday, but we're going to try to do, me and Cal are going to talk about, because now that August is done and I'm done with this crazy schedule, we're going to talk about what days we're going to do it now. So just look at my Facebook. I'll be posting it. What time is the next show is going to be. It's either going to be next Monday or it's going to be next Wednesday or Thursday. One of the two. 3. So yeah, we'll get back to you on that. You'll see it on the post, as I always do, 2 or 3 posts a week. You guys have a great week. Thank you. I'm getting a bow tie. All right, Tom. Thank you guys for joining in. It's always a pleasure. If you have any feedback, please do not hesitate to call us. Jimmy, I forgot. You told me to talk about something tonight. I think I forgot about it. But remind me again next week and I'll talk about it.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about what you posted, too.
Oh, that's what we're going to talk about.
About the racism.
Yeah.
Can you just end that off with that? What did you say?
What'd I say?
About racism. I just want to end that off so we can bring it up next week.
What'd I say?
You said about the post about how black people are most racist or something like that.
Oh yeah, people talking about how black people. I posted on my thing today about people being racist, and I think black people are the most racist.
And I think you need prayer.
And somebody said to me,
and we're gonna end that like that.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that next week. But I know that I don't know.
You know what?
I'm not gonna say nothing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next week. Next week's show.
Black people are the most racist.
Tune in next week and we'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you.
My man.
Night.